Everyone, it's Shar and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another speed build. Okay, listen, my editing software has been on one recently. It is stuttering like crazy and it is so hard to edit. So that's why video updates have been a little bit slow, but I'm super excited because in my Whimsy Stories challenge, if you have not seen my Whimsy Stories challenge, you'll be very confused. It's one of my most popular series. I absolutely love it. So definitely recommend check it out. So in my Whimsy Stories, our Generation 1 Faye is pregnant and about to have a baby. That will be her sixth child, I believe. But she is about to hand off the baton to Generation 2. And Generation 2 is Lily. Now, obviously, Lily is not going to move into this giant beautiful brick home right after moving out with her family. My plan for Lily is because she's supposed to be a teacher, and I imagine Lily to kind of want to explore the world and get out there. She's going to move to Mount Kamarebi first to kind of teach there for a couple of years. That's where she'll spend a little bit of her young adult life. Her mother and father always dreamed of opening up a retail store where they sell like all their crafted furniture. So my idea is that Lily will do that in their place, since they may not have time to. They may open it up, in which case Lily will take over. But if they cannot, then Lily will definitely follow that dream for them because she needs a way to afford this house. And there's no way she's going to do that on a teacher's salary alone. So Lily's going to move to Mount Kamarebi. And let me just backtrack. Whimsy Stories Legacy Challenge is a challenge created by Katie. I always leave the link to the rules in my Whimsy Stories video, but I'll try to remember to leave the link to the challenge and the rules on here too. So because Lily's generation, let me read to you what her story is and what her goals are. And of course, if you watch Whimsy Story, you know what Lily's childhood and teenage years look like. Also, I sped this up quite a bit to like 6.5 times speed. For me, it's like kind of stuttering, but my editing software, like I mentioned, does that anyway. So I hope for you, it is actually a speed build and not just like jumpy clips. If it is, well, just you see the end product in the thumbnail. You can just listen to my voice while I read to you the story behind this house and the sim who will live in this house. Okay. So Generation 2 is Lily. Happiness is not only found in a partner. You grew up extremely loved and cared for by your parents. They were the perfect couple. After watching what seemed to be the perfect love story unfold since you were a child, you feel as though it can't be possible for you to have the same thing. It even begins to feel daunting. So you choose to stay away from love. You might go on a date here and there, but ultimately your fear and anxiety about having a partner keeps you single for nearly your entire life. Though you never wanted a partner, you love children. You have always wanted to be a parent. The idea of giving a small sim a home and love for the rest of their lives makes your heart swell. You want to be that for someone. And whoever said you need a partner to have kids? You say to heck with societal norms and adopt 4 children throughout your life. You parent them alone. Even though it's just you, they have all the love they could ever ask for. They are happy. Your family is picture perfect. You are a super parent and feel that your life is completely full of love, even though you never had a romantic interest. Until you hit elderhood. Caught by surprise, you meet someone you instantly connect with. You both have lived your own lives and find yourselves completely and fully in love, completely and fully unexpectedly. You live out the rest of your days with your newfound soulmate and knit adorable creations for your grandkids. The goals for Generation 2 are to adopt 4 children, must not be in a relationship until elderhood, must marry as an elder, complete the super parent aspiration, have unflirty and family-oriented traits, complete parenting, research, and debate skills, must go all out for every season and holiday, like your house is decorated, your tree is perfect, your home should be in a magazine. Yeah, that kind of dedication. Must complete the education career and always have at least one animal in the household and have a gallery wall full of family photos. So when I saw the go all out for decoration, I pictured like Home Alone, which I guess is like the inspiration for this house. I did have an inspiration photo. Otherwise, I would build the exact same house I always build. So I'm glad I pulled that up. And In my mind, I definitely wanted this home to have an attic, so little dormers that you see are actually functional. I used a lot of the Discover University stuff because it feels like that would fit in, and technically we are in Henford-on-Bagley, so we are in England. So I also put in spandrels because I know you can decorate those. I put in a big old fence because you could decorate foundations, roof trims, anything that you could possibly decorate, I put in there. Now, what I did not have the foresight to think of was the Christmas tree. But in real life, if your house isn't big enough for the Christmas tree, what do? You like shuffle furniture around so the Christmas tree can go in, and then you'll move the furniture back when the holiday is over. So that is what we're going to do. Lily will, of course, go all out for Halloween, and because she's going to have a lot of kids. She's going to adopt 4 kids, and I'm also going to make her have a child of her own for no other reason than I would want to see what Lily's genetics look like, but she'll go the surrogate route because she's not going to be in a relationship. Lily really has no interest in romantic involvement and a lot of anxiety around relationships, as you read, which I absolutely love. I feel a little bit of representation for myself in that, which is fantastic. So this house is opulent is what I would say. We have these giant wrought iron fences. There is a reason we are in the Old Mill Hill lot. It is the biggest lot, I believe, in Henford-on-Bagley, and that's because I want it to be community style. So I want this essentially to be 3 of the exact same houses or very similar houses kind of lined up next to each other, and then the rest of it, it's supposed to be a very self-sustaining lot. So you imagine like there's a section for a farm, which you'll see a little bit on in the video. So we're gonna have 2 cows, a llama, and like 8 chickens, so a lot of chickens, which are sustaining the entire property. Everyone goes to the community garden and they all kind of garden together. We have a patchy. The yards are purposely really big because there's going to be a pool and things like that. This is technically the video you're going to see, but of course it's not finished. You see, I don't even get to the other houses in terms of decorating them and like fully laying out their floor plans. We haven't gotten to the yard. At a certain point, my laptop like gives up recording because y'all no joke, I started recording this at like a little before 9 a.m. this morning, and I just finished. It is 12:32 p.m. So it took me like 3.5 hours, but I was having fun. If I wasn't having fun, I would not have kept going, but I could really see Lily living in this house. I believe it has 4 bedrooms, so a lot of the kids do share, which I think makes sense. Even if Lily is able to find a lot of success via selling and business outside of her career, she still probably want to be able to afford like a 6, 7, 8 bedroom home. Plus, that's really going to raise our bills, which Lily will struggle with because roommates don't contribute that much. They lower the bills, they don't contribute that much. So we'll see how that's going to work out. But I just really love this house. Of course, Lily does not have kids yet. Lily herself is a teenager, so I had to imagine what she might do. So I imagine that she would get 1 child first. That would be her oldest child that she adopts, and then she would adopt 2 other kids very close in age. So those 2 would share a room, and then I imagine she would adopt a toddler, her 4th adopted child, and then get pregnant right away. So the other toddler, her baby that she gives birth to, her biological child, can also have share the room with the toddler. So it's gonna be very, very cute. And in this home, I do something that I really rarely ever do. Number 1 is play with diagonal walls, and number 2 is create a functional little kid space. So the reason why you think it would make more sense for me to do like the kitchen and the dining room connected, I don't do that. There is no dining room in this home because again, use of space. So where the play area is, this little section off space with the carpet, is actually going to be the kids' room. But right now we're in the living room. I'm putting in a fireplace. It is going to be a little bit odd because the TV is going to go above the fireplace, but the couches aren't perfectly aligned. And I think that was intentional on Lily's behalf, that there's a TV there if you want to entertain yourself. But the purpose is that everyone would gather in the living room to watch TV. There's a lot of activities the kids can partake in, lots of outdoors things that they can do. And I use a lot of cottage living stuff in here because Lily herself grew up in like a very suburban home, but it was super tiny, so it had a cottage feel. And this is more of an older home that has some renovations. Now, the one room in this house that I'm really not that happy with is the kitchen. I'm going to say it was just updated, but not updated to Lily's taste. Ideally, I would have wanted it to have like the cottage style, but I was going with a story here. And in the story in my mind, they updated the kitchens and the bathrooms, but it makes it stand out from the rest of the home. As you all know, if you watch my bead builds and like my builds in general, I like to make it so the homes have quirks. Number one, because naturally I will make mistakes, but number two, because it's really, really rare that you would buy a home and it would be exactly what you wanted and completely perfect and 100% to your taste. With that said, this home is fully furnished, so it is a little bit to Lily's taste, but there are things that she would change herself a little bit later on. So in this home, I put in a library because Lily has a lot of kids and she would want her kids to have like a study space. She would probably really value reading. So they have their own library, somewhere that Lily hangs out a lot in herself when she's like creating her lessons plan for teaching, but somewhere her kids also come and do homework because obviously Lily is a teacher. So she's really going to put a strong emphasis on school for the kids. And I do these kind of modular bookshelves. From above, it looks really weird because of that angle, but if you were standing below, you wouldn't see the top of the bookshelf, so it would just look like it curved along the entire wall, which is definitely my intent. Lots of wood tones, and I would say this is the more original room in the house. So the wallpaper in the library is the original wallpaper and paneling that was in the house, and then that gets replaced throughout the house except for the hallway upstairs, which again remains really close to the original form. So not the entire house was decorated. I try to put a lot of skill building stuff in here. There's no computers in here because it really is like a study space. Lily herself will have a laptop, but she might get a computer later on. I just also didn't want to drive up the price. And you can see that I'm saving it in the gallery or in my library because I wanted to see if I could just like re-download the house and just like put it row to row. Then I remembered that's not going to work because it's going to try to place the entire lot and replace the entire lot. So instead, I have to copy and paste the houses. And you will see that progressively the yards get a little bit smaller. I play around with fencing quite a bit because it's my outline for how big the house can be. Lily has the biggest yard. Obviously, she has the most kids, but because she is the played household, it technically will be her lot, and she's renting out these houses to the other people. That's not actually how it works in the story, but in the gameplay, like actual game technicalities, that's how it works. In the story, Lily just happens to buy one of these properties, and the neighbors are there, and she just moves into the house with her kids. Now, you're going to see the really boring parts of me literally just copying and pasting these rooms. It's like a puzzle piece and putting it together. I will go back in my own time and decorate these houses. I may make videos for the individual houses because the insides will all be different to each other because obviously different families, different needs. Or I may do it myself on my own time, off camera, just for a bit of relaxation. I'm definitely in a building mode. I'm also in a let's play mood. But let me tell you, like I mentioned, my editing software has been just a pain in my behind. So editing let's play videos just have been really, really intense and really stressful because of how much it stutters when I'm editing. It's like dun, 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 dun. Literally that's what it sounds like when I try to edit, although it doesn't sound like that when I post it. It's just the editing itself, something to do with storage and how I set it up. But I contacted customer support, which is a boring story for you. But anyway, I contacted them, and it's because I'm using an external hard drive instead of having all the videos saved onto my laptop. But realistically, my laptop, there's no way in hell that it is going to store as much of the videos as I record. The storage is just not there. It would have run out of space after one video. We ain't doing it. So I just kind of have to shut up and deal with it until I find an editing alternative. But the roofing on the first house, Lily's house, was really, really hard. So I just kind of do these half wall things, and we're literally just going to put in spacing in there. So watch me do that. Yeah, I don't know. That's where my thoughts are at. That's what I'm thinking. I'm really excited to play Lily's generation, although I think she might have to stay at home a little bit after she ages up because Faye isn't quite ready to max out the skills that she needs to max out in order to officially hand the baton off to Lily. Although one thing that we have really neglected with Faye Generation 1 is the whole that she What is it? Something about, yes, the freelancing career. She doesn't do that. Wow, that was really hard to get out. I was struggling to remember what it was. Freelance career. She really is able to do that a lot because of the whole bits and pieces things. And I was like, ooh, that's annoying. And it's not really required that she maxes out the freelance career. So it's more so things that she does in between, like, our garden and taking care of her kids, and it's really stressful and chaotic in the house because of the restriction to live in a super tiny house. Something else that I started doing, which you're going to see recently, you're going to see coming up really soon because we're getting into spooky season and the final 2 weeks of October, is a new Let's Play. I know what you're thinking. Char, you have so many freaking Let's Plays on your channel. You have like 6 and you can't keep up with it. What are you doing starting a new one? 1, it's spooky season. And 2, because cottage living, our Let's Play cottage living, is coming to an end, I knew that I had some time to record a super spooky 6 or 7 part Let's Play. And I'm going to tell you about that here. First, this Let's Play is not going to be family friendly. I'm calling it Seducing the Reaper for now. I might change that down the road, but at the moment it's called Seducing the Reaper because that's the objective. So our girl Calliope is this girl from one of our magical family, like creative sims. She's a daughter of one of the twins, and she has moved back to Realm of Magic, that world which I have forgotten the name of because I rarely ever play with it. She's moved back there, and through her own like family lineage, magical ability, she's not a witch, but she still has like what do you call that? Residual, latent, something like that. She has that ability. She knows that the Grim Reaper is her soulmate. So her intention is to marry the Grim Reaper, and Calliope is also a serial killer. So this Let's Play is not for everyone. It is going to be very violent, it's going to be very graphic, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I've recorded almost every episode of the Let's Play, so the good news is you'll see a lot of them coming up because I definitely have to get them all posted before November, since it's spooky season and it's a spooky theme kind of Halloween Let's Play. And our girl is just on the path and on the mission to seduce and marry the Grim Reaper. And one of the ways that she summons him is through the murder of Sims. So there's extreme violence in there, literally the extreme violence mod. It is very graphic, but it is super fun, but it's definitely not for everyone. It's definitely a Let's Play I geared more towards adults. I'm talking like 18 plus. But that's up to the discretion of your legal guardians as to whether or not you can watch them, and you know what you are and are not allowed to do. So this is the self-sustaining portion of the lot. I'm going to make it simple living. I want to add some eco stuff to the lot as well, but this is the community garden I was telling you about. I thought about adding the skating rink because how freaking fun would that be? And this is supposed to be like very posh and upscale. I decided against it because it felt like too much, but I do go in and add things like honey. I add this sign kind of telling you about the community. I add Patchy the Scarecrow to help with the garden because I can't control the roommates. That's the point. The roommates do whatever they want, and it is just going to be a super fun time. And I find myself running out of things to say. So what else can I update you on? I don't know. It's been a pretty dull time. I'm about to start my busy season at work again. I get assigned like 100 or so students to advise for the next couple of months. So I'm going to be advising quite a bit for the next like month or 2. So my uploads might be even slower. I'm really sorry about that. But I do try my best to get these up fairly frequently, at least 1 a week, but ideally 3 or 4 a week. But what I'm also excited about is Not So Berry. So you would have seen that I recently posted a Not So Berry video coming back with Clover, our yellow generation. Now, Clover is currently in university. She is working towards her PhD because, yes, she is going to jump right into her career at a really high level because she has a full ride to a very prestigious university that's very well known for their physics program, and she is getting top marks, top grades. She has a distinguished degree, and she will be inventing quite a few things that will make her a little famous. Not actually with the fame system, but like well known in the community, and that's how we're going to justify her being like at a level 8 or 9 when she starts her career. And I'm really excited for that. Clover is an interesting generation to play. Like, I loved, okay, let's go back. Aubrey was our first gen. She was our mid generation. She was really, really fun to play with, but also super stressful because I started with the base game rules of Not So Berry, then Get to Work went on sale for like 50% off, and I was like, screw it. I'm going to need this for Not So Berry anyway, and I want to play it, so I purchased that. So we switched halfway to playing with the original Not So Berry rules. So essentially, Aubrey had like twice as many skills to update and work on, and man, was her generation really, really stressful, but like the fun kind of stress. I was like, Aubrey, you're going to die before you finished it. She did finish it, although our girl technically died the same day she got a promotion or the day after that. So right after she maxed out her career, died at work. You never saw that because I lost the footage for that, but that is what happened in the mid generation and how Aubrey came to her end. She was at work and she died while she was at work, but she had already been promoted the day before, so she had technically completed everything she needed to complete and passed the baton off to one of her sons, which was Micah James. Micah James, our red generation. He was so much fun to play with. First, Micah James was hot. I was like, oh my God, the genetics in this household. You could tell by my voice, like, how shocked I was that Micah James was as attractive as he is. So we played Micah James, who is our red generation. And Micah had this ambition and this goal to become president of the sim world. Along the way, lots of things happened. I'm not going to recap it for you, but Micah James was so much fun to play. One, because I just loved him and I loved his personality and the kind of things that he did. I've never played with a political career, so it was just really fun to play with that aspect of the game, which is what Not So Berry is really, really good for, is playing with parts of the games that you would maybe not go for yourself and just learning more about the game as you play. So that was so much fun to play Micah James. He also didn't have to complete a collection, and that is what also made Aubrey's generation so hard. My gosh, those Elements collections without being a scientist, that was on one. So Micah James was truly just one of my favorite generations to play with. I also really loved exploring Micah James's, like, his own exploration of being polyamorous and what that means to him and accepting that and the things he had to face with people not understanding and people being judgmental and trying to become president of the sim world, but also navigating, trying to balance that while also being a single father and having an active dating life and being this really, really well-known politician, literally leading the entire Sims world. It was just so much fun to play Micah James. And then we moved on to Clover. And if you have seen Not So Berry, you will know that Clover upset me at some point because right after she went on vacation with her father and her family, all her aunts and her uncle, she met this guy, Abram, who she really, really liked. And they went on dates and they came back and decided to fool around. Literally fool around. I did not have woohoo enables for teenagers. Our girl somehow still got pregnant, and that was very unfortunate for her. The storyline was never intended for Clover to get pregnant. She was going to have a teenage romance with Abram, and then she was going to go off to university, explore herself, have lots of fun, and then start a family. But of course, little Nova joined us in the world, and I had to change Clover's entire storyline. So we are back with Clover. She is in university. She is in a relationship with Abram Goth. Goths, of course, are very, very rich. So they were able to get a really nice house in Brightchester, and that is where they are currently at. So anyway, back to the speed build. You can see now that I'm decorating, and I'm trying to decorate these kids' room in a way that I think would make sense for Lily. If you try to decorate for kids that don't exist, it was really, really hard, but I tried to do my best with it. I also made sure there was enough bathrooms. So the smaller room with the little canopy bed, yes, it is smaller, but it has an ensuite. So that was a compromise, and why I imagine the oldest child would have wanted that room. And we come to the living room. And the living room, I do something quite fun. I wanted to do something I don't normally do. I do fix that window that is glitched out. So I go with these black walls dolls from the paranormal stuff pack, and I loved it because I saw it as a blank canvas and a way for us to play with colors. It was pretty difficult to actually decorate it and get with a color scheme that I enjoyed, but of course you all know I love the color blue, so I went with blues and yellows, which I think suited the room really well. I try to get some skill building stuff in here, like a guitar, etc. Just lots and lots and lots of activities that the kids can play with. I'm pretty sure you've actually already seen me decorate the kids' room, but I've been staring at the window as I talk to you, so I don't even know what's going on. To update you on, like, I guess, life and reading stuff, because that's what I do on these videos when I run out of things to say. I am doing really, really well with my reading goals this month. If you have not seen my videos and you've never heard me talk about my reading, I read a lot. I am a mood reader, so I always typically pick up books that I want to read, that I'm in the mood to read. But I've purchased a lot of books recently, mostly from the thrift store because discounts, but also I like to keep the books in circulation, etc., lots of reasons. Anyway, I purchased a lot of books from the thrift store and some from the bookstore, and my bookshelves are full, and I borrowed a lot of books from the library. I have a lot of books in my Kindle Unlimited, essentially meaning I have a lot of books in my current possession that I want to read and make my way through. So for this month in my reading journal, I mapped out a TBR. Wow, me, a mood reader, setting a TBR. Now, I'm not sure if I'm using this correctly because I am a millennial and not Gen Z, but I fear I have girl bossed too close to the sun because I set my TBR to be 18 full-length novels, and most of those were horror, paranormal, and intense in some way. And man, did I not give myself a buffer or any kind of palate cleanser in between those, because I've gone from horror book to horror book to horror book, which, as you can imagine, is not great for the anxiety. So I'm trying to adjust that because I printed stickers for all of them. My anxiety and how it manifests makes it so I'm like, I have to read all of these books and write all of my reviews next to these stickers because that's how I've set it up. I will cut myself a break and give myself some leniency, but I'm trying to make my way through it. And I will tell you, my favorite book that I've read this month has been Sadie. Sadie was just on another level. Sadie by Courtney Summers. And it was so good. It's about this girl, her younger sister was murdered and she has gone missing. And you're listening to the podcast episodes of what they think happened to Sadie and following this mystery and doing an investigation. It is such a well-produced audiobook. I read it in audiobook and physically, so I was following along as I listened. Just incredible. They have theme songs and a full cast, and just really recommend it. It was at my local library, the audiobook I could check out. So if you are looking for something to read this season, definitely recommend Sadie, but please check the content warnings because it is a very intense book that covers a lot of really heavy subjects like drug abuse, rape, child abuse, sexual abuse, child pornography, pedophilia, like lots of things are going on in that book. So you definitely want to check the content warnings, but I absolutely love Sadie. It was a 5-star read. I also read Raybearer, which I counted for this month because I finished it on October 3rd, even though I started it in the middle of September. I always count from when did I finish it and what month. So Raybearer was really, really good as well. It had a really slow start, which I was struggling with, but the second half of the book was just like chef's kiss perfection, and I'm so excited to read Redemptor. I have a thing about series recently and not wanting to commit myself to very long series, but I'll eventually go back and read Redemptor, but I want to make sure I don't wait too long, otherwise I'm going to be very confused about what happened and not remember a lot of the story. But we're coming to the end of the video. We're in the last couple of minutes. So this is Lily's room. I go with really, really basic because I mentioned Lily can't afford this house right after moving out of her parents' home. This is her a little bit later in life with all of her kids. So remember, she gets pregnant and gives birth and has 2 toddlers. So 2 toddlers, this is when she would move in. So it will be quite a while before Lily is able to afford this home, but I give her a room that I think that she would like when she was a little bit older, something very soft and calming and relaxing. Because it's England, I put down carpet in the bedrooms. My little American self is like hardwood floors. But I knew it made more sense for where they live for the bedrooms to have carpet. So I did that. And then the bathrooms are really, really simple and straightforward. Thankfully, there are 2.5 bathrooms in this home. I could make this little half bathroom in the hallway a full bathroom by putting the shower in. We'll see how necessary that is, though, and how the family functions with the 2.5 bathrooms. And one of the aspects of this home that I love the most is the attic. Now, at a certain point coming up, my computer literally like heaves its last breath when it comes to the recording. It just like crashes the recording. So I might lose footage, but I go back in and add hampers everywhere because obviously there's laundry, and I see that as a way for Lily to like teach her kids responsibility, to give them chores. And we do hopefully get to see the attic. You get to see me decorate it a little bit. I'm putting the final touches into the bathroom, making it look more lived in. I do something in the bathroom that I love. I put these giant mirrors behind it, and I don't know, I was just obsessed with that. It may not be everyone's thing, but I saw that and I was like, yes, that's exactly what we want. So this is the final bit of the video, the attic. The video is going to crash in a second, so I hope that you've enjoyed it. I put in a little bit of yoga and chest stuff in the attic. I put very dirty walls in the attic because it's supposed to be kind of creepy and dimly lit, but Lily comes up here to do yoga. Some of the kids come up here to play chess, and it is just overall a good time. So I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.